we are having Farzanah Chowdhury. She's Managing Director and CEO at Green Delta Insurance, which is one of the leading insurance company of Asia, based out of Bangladesh. Farzanah is a chartered insurer, Global Goodwill Ambassador CII, and experienced managing director with a demonstrated history of working in the insurance industry. She's skilled in business planning, internal audits, analytical skills, asset management, and mergers and acquisition. So I give floor without much of ado to her.
Thank you, Deepak, for inviting me to this session, and I'm always very much inspired and kind of excited when I'm invited to talk about women empowerment. And women empowerment in agriculture is the key of an economic's growth of a nation. And when we talk about, can we have the slides? I have a presentation. Yes, I'll be highlighting on the drive of empowered women in agriculture towards inclusion, equality, and sustainability. Because for sustainability, you need inclusion of women in business. And of course, in the agriculture business, you need women's inclusion and also ensure the equality, which leads to sustainability. And I start with the quote that if the soul of a nation to be saved, and I believe women must become its soul. So this is how I start. The next slide. First, we could just see that what's happening in the global agriculture market. The market is expected to grow by 2022 is to 12 trillion, which is around 4% of the global GDP. And agriculture is expected to feed 9.7 billion people by 2050. And Asia-Pacific region accounts for 57% of the market. And agriculture provides jobs for 1 billion people, which is 28% of the population. And on average, 43% of the agriculture labor force are women in developing countries. And as you see that the agriculture market, there are changes that are shaping the global agriculture industry. And we all know about the technology, which is driving, due to the technologies, the advancement and the advancements, the agri-market to grow at a CAGR of 28.38% by 2024. And agriculture, IoT, connectivity, rural broadband accessibility, technology, intelligence will be market of USD 20.9 billion by 2024. Today, a farmer can feed 155 people, which was only 19 people in 1940. You can see also the green revolution, AI, machine learning, sensors and IoT, data management, and advanced technology like GNSS, GPS, virtual reality, etc., made possible to gauge the growth of a mathematical scale. And genetic engineering and biotechnology developments in seed technology. And technologies facilitate improved irrigation, innovative breeding techniques, and modern machineries. And investments also changed the shape of a global industry. We have seen that in 2019 broke record with more than 1,450 investments, and it's still growing. And businesses are investing in innovative business models through mergers or acquisition. As you know, that blockchain is very much in existence and very much visible right now. Climate change is one of the areas that frequency and severity of adverse climate events are affecting costs, production, yield, and patterns. And agriculture causing loss of $108 in a year on average. Next slide, please. Slide. Yeah. if we see that what's the woman role for better food and better food security and nutrition, women are morely involved in the household activities. In the village, you see that they are more involved in the farming, livestock carer. They are managing home, and traditionally bear all the responsibility for preparing meals, caring of children and father and other family members. So she's more than a caregiver. Next slide, please. But unfortunately, and it's a very sad thing that they never get paid for what they do for their family. This is just a slide that to see that what is the gender gap in the agriculture sector. You can see that 43 to 50% of the global agriculture labor force is women, but unfortunately, we see that there are inequalities related to access to resources, service, credit opportunities. There are no gender neutral policies and gender specific data. 49% of the labor force are underpaid, and 60% of the global undernourished are women or girls. And there are also statistics that shows that only 15% of the world's extension agents are women. Female farmers receive only 5% of all agriculture extension services from 97 countries. And only 10% of the total international development assistance for agriculture, forestry, and fishing goes to women. So it's really sad to hear that they give their effort, but they're less paid and less opportunity, or less, I would say, benefits are going to women. Next slide, please. Next slide, yeah. So now we see that being in the 49 to 50% of the labor force, as it's covered by women, so there is a need to empower women towards inclusion and leading towards sustainability. And there we can see that there should be 7 key domains to empower women in agriculture. As you know, which is very important, that decision-making power is very much needed for a woman to be in agriculture processes or in business. Control over productive resources, where we see always their spouses are in control and they don't have the decision-making roles in the productive resources for controlling over the productive resources. And control over use of income. We can see that there are women, they do business and they do earn, but they don't have the independence, or they're not even allowed to use that income according to their preference. So this is something that we need to really look into this. And then social and capital leadership in the community, that women should come in the front and take the leadership role. Time use and the time poverty. Lower human capital endowment, access to and use of the technology. Technology is actually key or enabler that leads to growth and sustainability, and that also needs to be embedded in women empowerment. And as you know that nowadays more women now are more catered to learn the STEM, science, technology, management, and these mathematics and all these science and other areas. Women should go and take their careers into that. So if you empower women in agriculture, that eliminates 20 to 30% of the yield gaps. It leads to increased domestic agriculture output by 2.5% to 4%. And also there are 100 to 150 million less hungry people in the world if the women are empowered. Next slide, please. Now, if we see the participation of women in agriculture for the Asia context, there are some statistics that found that largest region in the global crop farming market accounts for 38%, which is Asia. And Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, India, Pakistan, they share economically active women in farming ranges from 60 to 98%. And women landowner in Asia is average is 10.7%. Women's contribution in overall farm production is average 55 to 66%. And every year, women's limitation to join workforce cost US 89 billion. So as you see, that disempowerment led Asian women in farming to a slower rate of adoption of a wide range of technologies than men. It's very obvious, we've seen that. Their lower willingness to pay for new products like weather index-based insurance, greater time and resource constraints, and lower human capital endowments. Next slide, please. This is the story of three women in Africa, India, and Pakistan, where we see that Morudi, she owns a beekeeping and agriculture product business, and she offers free bee pollination service to rural farmers and educates rural communities about the importance of bee and why they should be treated as friends, not foes. So Morudi's farm produces raw honey, and which has potential to grow as demand for honey in boards. So she's a woman who's really broke the barriers and, going up the ladder. Gitanjali Rajamani is from India, who is she's a girl who quit everything to bring organic food and agriculture to the doorsteps. And the main reason why she's done that she allows, it's a startup, Farmizan, that allows native farmers to rent a community-based farmland outside the city to grow their own produce safely and organically. And when they're caught up in the city life, on-site farmers will take care of their plants. So this is something, a very innovative startup that she's come up with. That one was to give city dwellers fresh, chemical-free produce through the farming experience, and on the other hand, to help improve the livelihood of the farmers as well. And of course, there's another story of Almas Parveen. She's also doing a great thing. She will be the voice of empowerment and gender equality. Next, please. Now to look at Bangladesh, the scenario. Well, we have it's almost 50% population is women, and the average age of this country is 35 years old, and 60% of the total population is actually 35, and it has a young population, and women are involved in the manufacturing and also in the agriculture sector. And 72.6% of the total labor force is women in Bangladesh, and but no official recognition as farmers, as I've mentioned, that they are just working as as helpers, caregivers, and taking care of the household, cows or other areas related to agriculture or related to household work activities. 2.2% gender pay gap in Bangladesh, and 15.8% rural land is owned by women. But the control over income of the asset is 1/4, so that's also very low. They work 16 hours a day, spending in informal agriculture work and in household chores, and 70 to 21 stages of crop production cycle that has women participation. But 85 to 90% women are unpaid workers in agriculture. Next slide, please. But there are many activities done by the private, the government, and from the development organization, especially the microfinance organization. You know that we have Sir Fazli Hassan Abed, Professor Yunus in Bangladesh, who have brought microfinance and microcredit in Bangladesh. So we see that the steps that ensures the access to finance, reducing gender gap in financial access through microfinancing, that 90% of the total number of clients and borrowers of microfinance institutions in Bangladesh, and they are. This is how it is. The gender gap is reducing. Creating access to financial literacy. 68% of women entrepreneurs know about dedicated desks for women established at the commercial banks. Encouraging women empowerment, remarkable gains in women empowerment in the short span of last 3.5 years, from 27.1 to 47.2%. Promoting digital literacy through encouraging online business. Developing infrastructure support to ease financial access. Agent banking, mobile money services. Increasing self-independency through facilitating entrepreneurs. About 68% of the women entrepreneurs know about dedicated desks for women established at the commercial banks. Increasing socio-economical security, increased economic activity of women. So these are the areas that we've seen that a lot of progress were there in Bangladesh, but still we see that 20% gender gap in financial accessibility, which is an area that needs to be worked out. And 18% of the digital finance service users are women. That is a very small number though. And financial service accessibility, the 35% of women have bank accounts and 65% are men. And in terms of financial literacy, 44% female and 56% of male answered financial literacy questions correctly. An account at a financial institution, so we see that 36% female has an account at a financial institution, whereas 65% of male, they have a bank account. And if you see the mobile money account, only 10% female have the registered mobile money account, whereas 33% are male. Next slide, please. Now to give a update of what Green Delta Insurance is doing for empowering women through agriculture insurance, and that's how they handle and mitigate risks in agriculture. Green Delta started weather-based indexed in agriculture insurance as a pilot basis in 2016, and later we have joined hand with IFC together, and we have commercialized this product in end of 2018, and since then we've been working with various partners. Till date, we brought 109,580 farmers under insurance coverage, where 49,311 female farmers were empowered through this risk mitigation tool. We've reached 118,897 households through our service. Among our 22,997 claimants, around 32.93% women received claims for crop damages in 4 divisions of the country. And we have covered 19 districts of 8 divisions. We have partnered with 11 agriculture value chain stakeholders like input farms, contact farming companies, Farmers Hub, microcredit leaders, Farmers Hub, microfinance institutions, non-government organizations, agricultural input sellers, etc. And created impact on 416,139 lives through insurance coverage, creating awareness and conducting knowledge sharing sessions. Through indexed crop insurance, we are creating access to finance, increasing power over income and assets, ensuring inclusion through inclusive insurance, easing process of farming through training, and ensuring access to information. Next slide. This is a story about Nilima Sinha. As you know, that she's a tomato farmer in Bagirhat, Bangladesh. And agriculture insurance helped rural women in agriculture to gain control over their income and make decisions where they will spend. And that was validated when they received claims. Social conventions dictate that women are incapable of taking complex decisions like paying premiums of index-based agriculture insurance. But this concept is changing as more and more women are participating in such decisions through channels like NGO, MFIs, and also through insurance companies like us. And here you can say that she's saying that although we now have to buy the insurance, we're still continuing. It's because it gives us the confidence before harvest, and we can rely on it to pay the important things. So as you can see that they're not, it's not a free product, and they are willing to pay for the services. And we have seen that they have also plead to government that whether they can get some VAT exemptions in the premium they pay to us. Next slide, please. As I have mentioned, that technology is actually changing the whole world, and in terms of business process, product and pricing, and also people. And it is changing the whole world, and of course creating efficiency, and of course creating huge impact in the business community and also in the human lives. And there are a lot of Agritech Solutions which is coming out, and that is also facilitating women. And we can see that the gap exists in case of women's participation in agriculture that can be satiated through information-based agrotech and advanced farming techniques that uses new techniques like increasing farm and output profitability, such as low-cost greenhouse and hydroponic farming. These technologies developed by farmers for farmers. And next is to save time and reduce drudgery. And the third one is to freeing up women's availability to engage in alternate income generating opportunities. There are some agrotech solutions disrupting traditional agriculture practices in Bangladesh, where I can just name few. That there are information-based group agritech, which uses information to leverage better production and prices at both farmer and consumer ends. There are e-Farmers Hub 7676 and Farmers Query System by Empower. There are market linkage that connects consumers to certified farmers to provide better produce. There are Parmida, Cash Food, Fish Bangla. And there are mechanization, which makes farmer easier and less labor intensive. The companies are tractors and other traditional tech, seeding guns, new irrigation methods. There are access to finance, where it makes funds available for farmers and transactions easier. There are companies like iFarmer, digital and mobile financial services who are working in this area. And the lastly is the advanced farming techniques, which uses new techniques to increase farm profitability and to low-cost greenhouse and hydroponic farming. Next slide, please. Well, there are major challenges that we've found, and that what policies that or what recommendations that would really take women towards empowerment in agriculture are we should tackle laws and regulations which discriminate against women, particularly in land ownership. We need to initiate programs to boost gender equality in agriculture and labor market. Then update education and employment policies to make them more gender sensitive. Develop food security strategies to improve women's access to childcare, farmer support mechanism, and credit and agriculture services. And fine-tune social protection programs such as active labor market programs with targets women's employment. So that was from my end. Thank you very much for your patient hearing.
Thanks a lot, Farzanah. It was a pleasure having you with such an insightful session, right? And you nailed it. Like, the beauty is that you started with the challenges of the world and Bangladesh, and finally, you proved that a woman who is sitting in the managing director's position can change the world. I got fascinated by seeing that those who have been benefited by your insurance GIDC service, right, has been a substantial amount of them have been women, and that's very, very heartening to see, because I generally see 7%, 8%, 10% beneficiaries whenever I see data of any program, and seeing that like 33% of payment to be women, right? That's yes, definitely you will never like any body insured to have a claim, because that means there is something wrong has happened. But I'm saying that just the risk protection you are able to provide is super awesome. And even when I was interacting with you on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum, when we were talking about agriculture, and I knew, like, you are going for a big ticket. We are having just one question, because we are towards the end of the session. How do we motivate more women to become Farzanah Chowdhury?
Oh my God. Well, for that, I would say just be yourself, follow your dreams, and it's like a journey where full of learnings, full of mistakes. Learn from your mistakes, and it's like fail, 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 and then rise like a phoenix from the ashes. This is something that I've learned, and never give up hope. If you don't believe in your dreams, then you can never achieve anything. So this is something that I tell everyone, that I never feel comfortable living in my comfort zone. I always try to break barriers, and what's next, that is something that how to improve our livelihood, how to improve ourselves and of course our surroundings. So this is something that that made me come this far, and of course have an eyes and ears of what's happening around you. This is something that very important. That's how we actually we have this all those techniques and new innovations, disruptive models. This is how we come up of these solutions, because in every country every solution is different, right? Mindset of the people, mindset of the society, it's totally different. So just be yourself and go with the flow and win the world.
No, you're already walking the talk, because the work you did during the pandemic to get people out from all the world, right, to Bangladesh, right, and we need women leaders like you, and there is no surprise that Bangladesh is doing so well economically and on a social front because of the change leaders like you. Thanks a lot for participating in this session, and I would say that as a parting remark, that people like you motivates even men like us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for inviting.
Take care. Cheers.